Oh, yes boys, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're doing some invasions on my Ant-Man build and I've given him a couple of new toys to play with. This is a poison build, so I've given him the poison perfumes and I've also given him the tooth whip. Look at this, it's just absolutely beautiful. All those green laser sparks everywhere, it's absolutely brilliant. There's some other weapons on the build. We've got the serpent bone blade, we've got the venomous fangs, we've got a poison infused shamshir with poisonous mist on it. The only drawback is currently I needed a bit more arcane on the build to use a poisonous perfume, so unfortunately I've got to put this horrible mask on to get the extra arcane, but it's all good because it allows me to use some new toys. They're the talismans, that's the flask. I'm boosting my dex and my strength so I can use all of the weapons for 3 minutes. And that's it guys, it's a level 30 build, minimum strength and dex to use the weapons, and like I say, I've added the helmet to add some more arcane. That's it anyway guys, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so this is my Ant-Man build. It's a level 30 poison build and this thing is a very strong build. Poison is doing really good at the minute at all levels I would say, but poison at level 30 is yeah, it's very strong. It's a very strong kind of play style to adapt to, especially at low level. It's very effective. And this is my Ant-Man build, like I said. He thinks he's an ant, he's a very confused individual. He's a little bit mixed up in the head. He lives down in the dark, in the caves, in the wet and the cold, with the insects. He likes ants. He wants to be an ant. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm a little bit ashamed of him. I'm a little bit embarrassed of him. But, you know, you just got to let it be, haven't you? You've got to let people be whatever they want to be. People can identify as whatever they want these days, and this guy identifies as an ant. So I just leave him to it. It's his life. He can live it however he wants. If he wants to live down in the dark in a big horrible nasty cave with all of the ants, you know, if that's what makes him happy, then it's absolutely fine. I'm a little bit disappointed I have to wear this mask for these invasions. I really don't like this mask. I think it's ugly. It kind of looks okay with this armour, to be fair. It doesn't look the worst, but I've never really liked this helmet. But I needed it for the extra arcane. I wanted to keep this build at level 30. It's always been a level 30 build, so I didn't want to add any more levels to it to adapt to you know, accommodate for that extra arcane. So I was thinking, how can I get some extra arcane on this build? And this mask was an obvious choice. I think it gives me, like, I can't remember what it is exactly. Is it 6 or 7 extra arcane? So I added this on, and then I respec'd. I took a couple of points off my vigour. I had 35 vigour, I think. I took a couple of points off my vigour and put them into arcane as well. And just doing that simple thing, you know, it's allowed me to use the poison perfume, which I think you need 18 arcane for. So, you know, I don't mind it. I think it's an ugly mask, but it's allowing me to play the build how I want to play it with these new weapons. So let's speak about it, guys. Let's discuss it. The DLC has been really kind to poison builds, hasn't it? There's been loads of new stuff for poison builds in the DLC, and I've got about 4 poison and rot builds. Some are pure poison builds, some are pure rot builds, and then some are poison and rot builds. So I've got plenty options of things I can do and things I can add to these builds, because like I say, the DLC, it was like Christmas morning. So much new stuff for poison builds. There's new weapons, there's the poison aromatic perfume that I'm using. There's a poisonous hand, which I did think about adding to this build, but I think it's just got enough going on with it at the minute. Plus, I'm pretty sure that's even higher arcane requirements, so it would have been no good anyway. There's some nice rot stuff. There's the rot pole blade. That's a good weapon to add to any poison or rot build. There's all sorts, guys, absolutely all sorts. But I thought the perfume and the tooth whip were a really good starting point to start experimenting with some of these poison stuff, these poison things that have been given to us in the DLC, especially on the Ant-Man build, because like I say, you know, it's a level 30 build and these don't require that many stats to use. The Tooth Whip I'm using in conjunction with my flask. I'm getting a 10 extra dex and 10 extra strength, so that covers all of the stats I need to use that. If I run out of my flask, within the 3 minutes of an invasion, it's absolutely fine. I just switch to one of my different weapons that I don't need that extra strength and dex for. It's the same with the Anthead shield that I have on this build as well. I think I need the extra strength to cover the requirements for that, so the flask comes in handy for the shield and the Tooth Whip. But I just bear it in mind, I keep an eye on my timings. If I pass that 3-minute marker, I just switch to some other weapons. It's all good. But it just allows me to use some extra weapons for that short amount of time in the invasions. This invasion in the background now is quite a good one that shows the power of the poison. I'm pretty sure that summon was massively over leveled. It weren't taking too much damage. And yeah, I just had a feeling, I had a bit of a feeling he was over leveled, and he was spamming the hell out of that new samurai sword. Is it the Starline sword? The old flippity flip new Moonveil 2.0? You know what I mean, he was spamming the hell out of it. But the power of the poison worked its little magic. It ticked away at his health, and eventually I was able to kill him. And then the horse just jumped off the ledge. He didn't want to fight, and I can't blame him. But yeah, good invasion. Now, I've got to take my hat off to these 3 players. When I first spawned in here, I was like, I was just thinking, it's going to be a spam fest. There's 2 mages. You could see they was both shooting a couple of lasers to start off with, and I was thinking, that's what this invasion is going to be. It's going to be a nightmare. But once this invasion got going, this turned out to be an absolutely awesome invasion. These 3 are the most honest 3 players I've seen in a long time. This is level 30, and these 2 summons are clearly not over leveled. I don't know what they actually are. I've never been too keyed in on working out what level players are from the runes that I get after I kill them. But I just, you could tell with the damage he was doing, they weren't doing too much damage to me. So this just felt like a real honest level 30 fight against these 3 players, and it's just brilliant. Just watch this invasion. If more invasions in Elden Ring were like this, the game would be perfect. I mean, a million times better. This is just an awesome invasion. They're using honest setups. There's not too much wizardry going on. I thought I was just going to get loads of wizard spam off these 3, but it's not turned out that way, and it's just turned into a real good fight. Now again, you can see the poison doing its job. These 3 are being mega aggressive on me, which is really good. It makes for a really good fight overall. But I've got the poison on my side, and you can see that it's doing its job. It's whittling them down slowly, so my job is to stay alive and let that poison do its work for me. I've got to keep the pressure on them when I can. I've got to take my chances. You can see that a summon's trying to help his friend there, but he's deadly poisoned, so his health's ticking away. And I've just got to stay in the fight, and eventually something's going to work out for me. I've got my eyes on this summon here, and I managed to take him out with the heavy attack from the whip. And the second summon there, you can see the poison. I'm just trying to keep up the pressure on him. I don't think he's got any boluses. It'd clearly have healed the poison by now if he could have. I'm pretty sure he's out of heals as well, because he's not topped up for a while. So I've just got to keep the pressure on, and any extra damage I can do on him is surely going to kill him at this point. I go in with the Venomous Fangs, and there we go. That's 2 summons down. Now it's just me and the host. And I'm switching to the Serpent-Born Blade just because I absolutely love this katana. And I'm going to try and do some combos here with the perfume in the offhand. And I'm trying to do some combos with the Serpent-Born Blade in the right hand as well. There we go. I'm not sure if you can actually combo the poison perfume in the left hand straight into a swipe of the sword with the right hand. I'm not sure if that's doable. I'm not sure it does enough poise damage on the perfume. But it's nice to play around with anyway. I do manage to land it sometimes, but it kind of depends how they react to that initial poison perfume shot from the left hand. But it's just nice to play around with. It's really nice. The perfume is a really good addition to this build. I don't know how effective it'll be at higher levels, but at low level it's really good. Doesn't do too much out and out damage. If you just hit it, use it as a primary weapon, it's quite low damage, but what it does do is apply the poison really well. And it's just fun. It's just a really fun addition to this build, and I've been enjoying it a hell of a lot. The tooth whip that I'm using here in the right hand is also another new weapon that I've put on this build from the DLC. Really cool whip, perfect for any poison builds. I know there are some true combos that you can do with this tooth whip, but I've been struggling to find them really on this build. I'm not sure if it's a question of I'm just not performing it right, or my timings have been a bit out with it, or maybe you have to two-hand it, but I'm sure you can do a jumping attack into the Ash of War. I have heard that that's a true combo, and maybe even a running attack into the Ash of War. I think that's a true combo as well. But like I say, you know, I've been struggling to pull the true combos off, but either way, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a really fun weapon to use, and it's been another great addition to the Ant-Man build. Now this summon in this invasion was doing my nutting. I'm 100% convinced he's light rolling here, which for me is the worst thing you can do in this game. It's just so cringe. I would say that light rolling is the most cringe thing you can do in this game. Besides, you know, I'd put it above Wizard spam, I'd put it above Rivers of Blood spam back in the day. I'd put it above anything. I think light rolling is just so broken, it's absolutely ridiculous. And to top it all off, he gets his swift slash backhanded blades out. So at this point, I just thought, well then, if you're going to mess about like that, I'm just going to go and kill your host. So I'll leave him down there at the bottom of the hill, and I know the host is hiding up here. So if his summon's going to play silly beggars light rolling and swift slashing, I'm not going to stick around for that. I'll just go and kill the host. And there you go. That's what you get for light rolling and using swift slash. You can see in this invasion that I'm using the Shamshir with the Poisonous Mist. Another really good weapon to have on this build. I think the weapon selections on this build overall are really good. It's one of my favourite things about this build. The weapons I use are just really fun. They suit the theme. They all kind of, you know, suit that Ant-Man theme, if you can call it that I'm going for. They're all a bit weird looking weapons. You know, the Serpent Bone Blade is a very strange looking katana. I absolutely love that katana. I love the Ash of War on it. The Shamshir is just a fun weapon to use. I've got the Venomous Fangs as well, also another fun weapon to use. And talk about suiting the theme. He's got those little Ant-Man claws and little stingers on his hands that, you know, inflict poison as well. And then I'm also using the Ant Skull head, and that is one of my favourite shields in the game. It just suits this build again perfectly. It's a massive ant head, and this character thinks he's an ant. So, you know, it fits perfectly, doesn't it? He thinks he's an ant, and he's carried a massive ant head around, and he's got all these weapons that are kind of insect themed. That's what I was going for anyway. So yeah, it's it's a good themed build overall. Definitely one of my favourites, and definitely a proper character build, you know. I always talk about this. Some of my builds are definitely kind of born out of the character of them rather than the weapons. I had the idea first for this, for the character. It was based on the ant's head shield. I thought, you know, make a build around that particular shield, and then the character came along that he was an ant, and then all the weapons and all the little details came afterwards. And it's just one of my favourite builds. It's a very, very, very strong build at level 30, and it's just a lot of fun. I absolutely love him. I adore him. He's a little weirdo. He's a right little weirdo, but I love him. And we just win another invasion there. The power of the poison shines through again. They were blending me really bad at times in that invasion. It was a tough one. But I just had to keep buying myself a little bit of space, making sure that poison was applied, and eventually, you know, we whittled him down and managed to kill him. This guy's in a world of trouble in this one. He's got me throwing poison spray at him, and then he's got the Eye of Sauron behind us. So he's in a lot of trouble. He's about to get inflicted with madness. There you go. The Ant-Man and Sauron. Oh, look at that. All hail the big golden eyeball. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a funny invasion. Not very exciting. It weren't a very exciting fight, but I thought it was funny because just Sauron, innit? The Eye of Sauron there behind us. Anyway, guys, this is the last invasion of the video. Hope you enjoyed watching this one. I think I'm going to do some more invasions with this build, and then I'm probably going to go back to my Golden Crusader build and progress through the DLC a little bit more with that one. I've still got to add a few spells from the DLC that I want to add onto that build, so I've got a little bit of work to do on that one. But I thought I'd just change it up in the meantime and do some invasions with the Ant-Man and try out some of these new poison weapons. And I've had an absolute blast. But I'll let this invasion play out, guys. Look after yourselves, look after each other, take it easy, and I'll see you all in the next video.